On this episode, I'm barking up the right tree, way up, and going out on a limb, way out. The goal is not entirely clear, but these guys have a plan.
He's got a laser.
And I've got a front row seat.
I mean, look around you, man. You just don't get a view like that very often.
It's okay, if you like that sort of thing.
High in the mountains of the Pacific Northwest, deep in the heart of this primeval forest, a giant is waiting. No, not the Yeti. Not the Sasquatch. This giant actually exists, and comparatively speaking, he's easy to find. Why? Because this giant towers above all the others and pretty much stands in the same place all the time. They call it a chinkapin. And today, with the help of these fine gentlemen, we're not only going to find this giant living among us, we're going to climb it.
Basically, you're going to take us to a giant tree. We're going to learn how to climb the tree. Then we're going to climb the tree.
Yeah, we're gonna go all the way to the top.
Why are we going to do that?
Because we're gonna measure it.
Why are we measuring it?
We're gonna see if it's still the champ.
Part of the arborist's job is to evaluate the overall health of a forest. To do that, they constantly check on the condition of individual trees. Basically, they're tree doctors. And their patient today is a giant chinkapin, an evergreen member of the beech family.
What's AG stand for, James?
Ascending the giants.
How giant is the giant in question? Do we know?
Big for a chinkapin.
Like
Yeah.
10 times bigger than any other chinkapin we know. I mean, it's huge.
So we're climbing the biggest chinkapin in the land.
That's right.
Yes.
Like anywhere.
See, that's a promo.
National.
In the
That's
in the
something.
universe.
A champion is what arborists call the biggest tree of its species in the world. And I guess if there's such a thing as champion arborists, it would be these guys. Their passion for trees has taken them to extremes that would make your average tree hugger very, very nervous. But for them, it's all part of the job, tracking down and measuring the biggest trees to teach us about the role forests play in sustaining a healthy environment. Naturally, if I want to keep up, I'll need to undergo an arduous training process.
We're gonna go for a swing.
Is this part of my training?
Yep. Just like seemed like something fun to do.
While hanging on for dear life is a recurring part of this segment,
Pretty close, but not that
so
good.
too is standing around in the wrong spot.
What you're standing is poison oak.
Whole bunch of poison oak in the grass?
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
Like it's here, it's there,
If you
it's
even
everywhere.
think you got in it again, just don't touch your face. Ben has a definite.
Ben, can you show us your poison oak?
Now, I've shared a lot of dirty things in my time with the viewer, but this time, for Ben's sake, I'll spare you.
Oh! Oh!
Ouch.
Ow!
Yeah, that's a good case of it.
So that's poison oak. That's poison oak. Everything itches all of a sudden.
Yeah, run away screaming.
There's really no training program here at all, is there?
So far, I've been told to swing on a rope and shown the undesirable effects of poison oak on the human skin.
I've
Now
found
it's time to
trees,
go.
I can swing on a rope. I know what poison oak is.
Well, we're fully trained. We're now ready to ascend a giant. What you're seeing right now is a plan coming together. It involves a dirt road, a 15-minute drive, large fall-offs, and towering giants. So the risk of danger is high. Calamity is all but certain.
This is awesome.
Thrilled to be a part of this plan. Is that our guy?
That's the tree.
But before we can climb that tree, we got to get geared up.
So, Mike, I got a herd hair here for you. A climbing helmet.
Are you okay with red? Is that right?
It's not bad. It's not my first choice, but, you know, we're coming into the spring.
Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna roll with it.
These are arborist harnesses. They have a little more padding than other harnesses you'd be wearing.
Ready to climb.
Is anybody itchy?
Top to, let's have one more look at that thing before we go. It's kind of a cautionary tale.
And so, with poison oak on all sides,
There's some right there, Mike.
Yep.
Step over that.
it was time to finally meet the alleged chinkapin champ.
Okay, this is the giant we're ascending. Wow.
You'll notice there's already safety rigging in it. Unfortunately, they don't grow that way.
All of this somehow had to be, like, how do you get the lines up there is the obvious question. And I'm still not quite sure what the obvious answer is. Part of it involves this. How in the world did you do that?
We've got a crossbow, and we'll be firing a bolt into the tree.
A bolt?
Yep. So when we load this, we're gonna attach the string onto the bolt, and we're gonna fire the bolt over the tree. So if you wanna go ahead and load that then.
Pull this guy.
Yep. That's it. Pretty much aim above your subject, because we're not trying to hit the tree, we're trying to go over the tree.
Right through the crotch.
I'm gonna shoot an arrow through the crotch of the tree.
Nice shot. Right over the crotch.
Okay.
So now what we can do, James is gonna go down and we're gonna shake this and it's gonna be wiggling some branches down on the brush and locate it.
So I'm giving it a little tug?
Yeah,
There she is.
I see the line.
you can see the line?
It's right in there.
And then he'll tie on a slightly larger string.
And we're gonna pull it back over.
We're gonna pull that back over. And then with that string, we can install our climb line.
It takes several passes until it's strong enough to hold the safety rope.
Cool, you're clear to pull it back.
And it works like a charm. Unless the line gets snagged or something.
Watch this.
For some reason, it feels like it's tied.
I think you're gonna have to pull harder.
How come he's not pulling back? Is your walkie broken?
You pull a little harder.
You know, like a man.
You got it.
You know, he just fell back down the hill. He's rolling.
That's comedy. All right. He's rolling through the poison oak right now. So anyway, that's what you guys did all day the day before as you were rigging all these lines on these trees. So my camera guys can go up and so we can go up.
That's correct.
So the elevator system these guys have put in place will allow Nick to ascend more or less as Damien descends, and hopefully give him enough stability when he's up there to actually do his job and shoot the show. All right, that's Doug taking his elevator ride. Doug, how high are you gonna go, do you know?
I don't know, 100 feet?
All right, so Doug's on his way. He's gonna get set. When we come back, James and I will ascend the giant. Ascend the giants.
I'm preparing to climb this chinkapin in order to measure it from the top down. We've set the ropes and put on all the requisite gear, but before we ascend this giant, we'll need to get a preliminary ground measurement using the very latest technology.
He's got a laser. Is part of the reason we have to climb it to confirm the measurement?
That's right.
And why is it important?
Climbing and dropping a tape is actually the most accurate way to measure a tree.
I actually think that makes the point better than any other thing. You know, you can take modern technology, you can measure it as best you can, you can approach it 1,000 different ways, but in the end, there's no getting around the fact that if you really want to know what you need to know, you got to climb up a tree.
Good hard elbow grease.
I'm gonna guess somewhere in the 102 to 104 range.
Well, if this price is right, you know what I'm doing.
What's that?
105.
Right on.
I'm saying 105. I think it's bigger than it looks.
Right on.
I feel as though we've come to the part where it's time to climb the tree. Up we go then.
Yeah, that's it. Dude, you got it. You kind of enter the arboreal world.
You've been waiting to use that all day.
I have. When we're climbing this type of tree, we're trying our best not to make the slightest smudge on the tree.
Right?
Our intention here is to actually leave the tree exactly how we found it. Dead wood, broken branches, hanging branches, lichen and whatnot, so
Just measure the thing.
just measure it, that's right.
So the lichens are starting to show up.
And you'll liken them.
Really, Damien? That's what we're going with?
I just have to do it.
And check this out.
Yeah, what is that?
Somebody's living in there. So trees like this are kind of like just complexes of apartments and condos and all kinds of places for wildlife to hang out. And
Oh, nice little house.
when we look at trees, we can actually surmise what happened at different points of that tree's life and how the tree has, adapted.
What'd you find over here?
Oh, this is where a woodpecker's been doing some feeding. Since it's a rectangular hole, I'm guessing it's a pileated woodpecker, the big guy with the red head, black and white, that makes square holes for feeding.
You know, trees are living, changing organisms. You could say the longer they live, the more character they have, and oftentimes the more likely they are to fail or parts of them to fail.
Working high up in a tree is different than working high up on a bridge or a radio tower. In those places, you're constantly reminded of just how far away the ground is. But up here, surrounded by all the greenery, it's easy to lose your perspective and forget exactly where you are.
Right.
Allow me to remind you.
All right, I've got a question for you.
What's up?
Have you ever fallen out of a tree?
I've never fallen out of a tree.
What about you, James?
I've never fallen out of a tree.
How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 61.
You're kidding me.
61, I'll be 62 later this year.
How long have you been climbing trees?
40?
40 years. You make me feel kind of fat and slow, James. How old are you, Brian?
I'm 35.
I don't know what to say to that. You make me feel young and alive.
Right on.
Where'd you fall in love with all this?
I mean, look around you, man. You just don't get a view like that very often.
No, it's a good office.
This business will leave you with bruises, that's for sure.
No doubt.
We run chainsaws hanging off our harnesses for a living, so if you can imagine what that adds to our perils.
I thought you were supposed to leave the tree exactly as you found it.
That's here. In town, we remove trees. That's our
Parts
living.
of them.
What an interesting sort of dichotomy that is.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's not lost on us at times.
I bet. I mean, really, you're paid to trim, prune,
Destroy habitat.
Yeah.
You're paid to destroy the habitat, so
Yeah.
on the weekends you atone
Yep, that's
by
right.
coming up here and doing whatever it is you do. You spent, at one point, how many days in a tree?
5.
Sleeping, eating in a tree for 5 days.
Well, we were traversing between trees, so it was 5 days. We did 88 traverses in 5 days and traveled a 1 kilometer distance, only in trees, completely independent from the ground.
Yup, these guys are a unique bunch.
A little higher? Let's do it.
All right, so Brian's heading up with the tape.
I'm gonna stick my head out of the top of the tree, kind of.
Right.
That's how high I'm going.
And then you're gonna drop your tape measure?
Yeah. So I can pretty much reach the top from here. Mike, as I'm lowering this down past you,
Yeah.
I don't want to have deflection in the line because that's going to add
Length.
length.
I understand. I can see Tyler right on the ground.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I got a straight
Nice.
shot right here.
Well, then that's where we're going for.
Now, I am gonna try and guide it straight down this way, along that line, and ultimately to, looks like Ben standing there. Okay.
I can really feel your movement up here.
What do you mean by that?
It's just a little spooky. It's like wobbling back and forth up here.
I was just thinking one of the most terrifying sounds you hear right now would be a
crack?
crack would be bad, but a chainsaw
Yeah.
and just the whacking of an axe. It's where my crew gets the ultimate revenge. How's the view, Mike?
We're in Oregon, way up in a tree. As for the view,
It's okay. If you like that sort of thing.
our purpose is to measure the world's tallest chinkapin, but there's much more at stake.
I'll hold it at the top bud of the tree,
Right?
and we'll see who wins the.
Well, it's a showcase showdown.
We'll see who wins.
I'm 105.
You're 105. I'm 104.
So what do you have, Brian?
I'm gonna pull some slack out.
Okay, Junie, hold it tight on the ground, over.
That's looking really good right now.
Copy that, we're gonna measure. Looking good, Brian.
Oh my gosh.
How you look?
Oh man, 104, 8 inches.
104.8. So you're at 104 and I'm at 105
Yeah, so I think that goes to you.
by 2 inches. Better be lucky than good.
104, 8 inches.
Copy that, 104, 8 inches.
All right, so we have essentially accomplished the main task, which is procure what I believe is an accurate vertical measurement of
Yep.
this giant chinkapin. And now we're going to go down and we're going to learn the new circumference of the base of the trunk.
Yeah, and the height changed, so we're gonna guess that the circumference has changed and grown as well.
After spending an afternoon way up in a tree, you'd expect to be glad to get your feet back on terra firma.
Good, Mike.
And while I'm relieved to have made it down at a controlled rate of speed, I could have happily spent a few more hours topside.
Back on the ground,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like getting off a fishing boat.
Remember how those work?
Anyone can nominate a tree for championship status. All you need to do is measure the height, circumference, and ground spread.
I got 35 feet.
35 it is.
True, this doesn't make for the sort of captivating video you get at the top of the canopy, but it's no less important.
So what do you do with this information?
So after gathering all this information in the field, we'll take this back, we'll plug it into our registry, compare that with the other nominations that we've gotten, and then we'll submit that to the National Registry in Washington, D.C. Within the next couple months, we'll know if we have a champion who's keeping its status. Yeah.
I would hate to think that it could somehow lose its status.
Yeah, they could be dethroned if another larger tree appears.
But there is no larger, more impressive chinkapin on planet Earth.
Not likely, not in the universe.
All right. James, come over here and let me thank you. I'm so appreciative if you keeping an eye on me up there, man.
No worries.
Really, really amazing. And you. It's awesome.
Cool.
Great,
Thanks. Yeah, thanks for coming out.
Wait, where's Ben?
Hey, buddy.
Hey, Ben. Yeah. Get that thing looked at, would you?
It's a deal.
You have a chance, climb a tree. You'll love it.